What's up, and welcome to episode 139 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and I'm joined as always by my main man, Woody V. What's happening, mate?
What's up, Robbie? Good to be here.
Great to be back, mate. I feel
Definitely.
like we say this every week. We've got a lot to talk about, though, this week, so I'm looking forward to this show. Look, we're going to do a little bit of NBL, very NBA-heavy episode today, so I know a few people will be pleased with that. I think at the time of recording, Tuesday the 15th of October, we're 7 more sleeps away from the season starting, I think, so absolutely can't wait. I know we'll both have to get some work done before the season starts, Wood, because the productivity will definitely drop. But yeah, well, before we get into the usual Jersey things, just a reminder to please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. So, Woods, I know we haven't checked what jerseys we're in this week. I can see you're doing the All Sydney theme, so you're obviously pleased with that big win they had against Cairns there. So, yeah, who
Definitely.
you showing today?
Yep, so before we get into that, Robbie, I might as well just let the audience know that we said last week that I might be going away on a trip to the UK for a little while.
That's right.
That trip has now been cancelled, so I'm here. So I'll be here recording with you. We will have a few guests, though, coming on in the not too distant future.
London's loss is our game or something like that, right?
For sure, man. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, let me just get up.
That's good. Woods is standing up, rocking I think I know who this one is. Sydney Kings number 31. Wow. That's Todd McCullough? No.
Taj
McCullough.
Right?
Yeah, Todd McCullough was the NBA player, wasn't he?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. And that's a random one, that one. Yeah.
The reason I wore it is because I was thinking about the Kings, their history, and everything that this club has gone through. And you talk about the firepower years, the issues we had with bankruptcy and the team left for 3 years. In 2010-11, the Kings came back into the league, much to the excitement of the wider Sydney community. And Ian Rebellion was the coach, as we all remember. And then the first 2 imports they signed were Taj McCullough and Rod Grizzard. And all over the ads, it was a huge marketing campaign in Sydney promoting the Sydney Kings. Well, I think McCullough lasted about 8 games and Rod Grizzard about 6 games. And by the end of the season, you had Trae Gilder and Patrick Sanders, who's never left the country.
Wow, he was playing NBL 1, wasn't he, last season? Grizzard, did he end up with the Singapore Slingers?
He was with the Singapore Slingers initially, then the Adelaide 36ers, and then his one final last short stint with the Sydney Kings.
There might be some people listening or watching this sort of like, what's the Singapore Slingers? So yeah, Google that. It was an NBL team for how many seasons? 2? 3?
2, I think, and they're still a team
in the Asian League, a very strong club, but yeah, it was a strange one, wasn't it, in the NBL?
Yeah, so let me just give you a little bit of background on Taj McCullough. He made his debut with the Sydney Kings. He was just 24 years of age. He only lasted for 8 games, as I alluded to, but he had a really good career, which took him all around the world, to the G League, to Israel, to Latvia, to Germany, and then he finished off in Sweden in 2014 at the age of 28 to pursue a career in coaching. And he actually went to Winthrop University. He was an Eagle. I think they're Eagles, right? Where Xavier Cooks went as well, right? And the reason I remember him is I think me and my brother were watching a dunk contest, a college dunk contest in about 2007-8, and we saw this Taj McCullough guy in that dunk contest. And so when he came and signed with the Kings, he was familiar to me. And it was just someone I remember because that year was so good that we got back in the league after that 3-year hiatus. So just a bit of a trip down memory lane and a little bit of Kings history for you today, Robbie.
You actually did well getting a jersey he put out when he only played 8 games there. So that's a nice one there, a nice random one. We love those. So I appreciate that, Woods, and you're rocking the Sydney Kings hat just to top off the look today. So, well, continuing the random theme, I'm wearing about as random as one that it will get today. So I know you don't know who this one is yet. So I'll just stand up. Really nice jersey, firstly, but I'll stand up and show you the one I'm rocking, and then I'll talk a bit about this guy.
For those who can't see, Robbie's rocking the sick Cleveland number 21, JJ Hickson. JJ Hickson. I used to love JJ, man.
What do you reckon about that?
JJ Hickson, man, disappeared. Like the NBA game passed him by.
He really did. I've got a little bit to talk about him. Strangely enough, Woods, I don't only own one JJ Hickson jersey. I own 2. So I've actually got a white one as well. So I actually really like this one. Love the colour and the style and everything on this one. So thought I'd tell a little bit about JJ Hickson. So really random on this one. So this is a black Cleveland Cavs Adidas jersey. So JJ was drafted out of NC State at pick 19 in the 2000 NBA draft by Cleveland. Went on to play 8 years in the NBA with times with the Cavs, Kings, Blazers, Nuggets, and Wizards. ended up finishing off overseas, Wood. So he had a couple of stints, including playing in China and Puerto Rico. He's still only 36 years of age,
Yeah.
believe it or not. So he's not that old now.
Heard he finished up playing in his early 30s. So
yeah, he's actually had a couple of off-court issues since he retired. So he was actually jailed, spent some time in jail and charged with armed robbery after a home invasion in 2018. So not a sort of great way to remember him there. I remember him as someone that was pretty much untradeable for a while from the Cavs, right? I think off the top of my head, they traded him to Sacramento for like Omri Caspi or someone like that. He was a very explosive player. Pretty good YouTube highlights package there with his jams and, above the rim sort of stuff there. But yeah, what were your sort of memories on Mr. Hickson?
Well, I'm actually very surprised that he had legal troubles because during his playing years, he was a very level-headed person on those LeBron James teams, right? Yeah, I just remember him being a hustle guy, man. He could put up. He was a walking double-double, He'd have 10 and 10 on any given night. I think he had some 20, 25, 30 rebound games. What was his career high in rebounds? Must have been 20 somewhere, right?
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I don't think it would have been 30. But
Yeah,
maybe
no, not 30, but
like
in the high 20, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, still a decent 8-year career, right? He definitely faded away pretty quickly. Like I said, still only 38 years of age, and he's been out of the league for quite some time.
21 rebounds.
21, so he matched his jersey number there. Yep. So why have I got 2 JJ Hickson jerseys, Woods? Can you explain that one to me? I did like him back in the day. But
how many Darrell Wright jerseys do you have?
Only the one Darrell Wright. Yeah, I don't say 2. I've got a mind.
Yeah, there you go. So if you've got an affinity towards a player, then you're going to get multiple jerseys of his, right?
The more random, the better as well, right? So
yeah, for sure.
So JJ Hickson. So look, we're certainly doing the rare ones this week with the McCullough and the Hickson jerseys there. So hopefully everyone likes those.
So for a lot of people, when I post the jerseys on Twitter this week, they're going to be like, "Who's McCullough and Hickson?" Right?
Yeah. Like I said, I really like the design of this one though. It's a nice looking jersey.
Beautiful.
The other one I've got that white one you kind of see a bit. But I like the colours on this one. It's one of those large +2 ones as well, Woods, that we like.
Yep.
So it's got that nice sort of length to the back of it as well. So, all right, good stuff. Well, that was jerseys of the week. So now it's time to. I wouldn't call it a new segment anymore, but it's about the third week. So it's card of the week time. So I'll show you the one I'm showing today. So a bit of a random one. Certainly someone that's very well known in Australian basketball. We've got a Shane Hill, Minnesota Timberwolves Skybox rookie card.
Sick.
So real nice card, that one. Got that in a little sort of the Ultra Pro sort of card holder there. So yeah, as I said, it's a 1997 Minnesota Timberwolves Skybox rookie card. So what does it basically say about him? It says that he led the NBL in 3-pointers. And he won the NBL Rookie of the Year at age 18. So just tells a little bit about it there. But yeah, it's a nice looking card, isn't it, these ones? These are the Skybox Premium as well.
They're awesome.
I don't think we've ever opened a pack
of these on
the show sort of thing. So yeah, it's not a bad one. I did have another Shane Hill rookie, but I just kind of like the look of this card there. So yeah, thought we'd keep it different. As I said, it could be a superstar, could be a bit of an unknown player. So this week it's a Shane Hill rookie card.
We should get some of those cards to open on the show.
Yeah,
they're awesome. If we can source some of those packs.
That's it. Nice. Well, as I mentioned at the start, we've got a lot to talk about today. So we're going to sort of quickly go through some NBL to start off, and then we're going to sort of finish, the majority of the show with some NBL stuff. But
NBA stuff.
NBA stuff. My apologies, Woods. As we always do, though, we'll sort of just quickly talk about the previous round in the NBL. So that was round 4, and then we'll do a quick round 5 preview. Look, we're not really going to go through and recap a lot of those games in round 4, Woods, but there was some big news that came out on, I think it was Sunday, right? Sunday after those games, Saturday night. That was, of course, that Southeast Melbourne have sacked Mike Kelly. So 0-5 start for Southeast. I kind of felt a little bit bad for him. They were really in that game against Brisbane, weren't they? If they'd have won that game, he would still be coaching now, I would have thought. I don't think he had a very long sort of rope there as well. But yeah, essentially Sam McKinnon's taking over. I'm not sure that's their long-term plan. I believe they are sort of looking for a full-time replacement there. But Slam and Sam has stepped into the head coaching role at the moment. What were your thoughts on that? Was it a surprise to you? Did you feel it was unwarranted? Did you think it was fair? What were sort of your feelings on that one?
No surprise at all, right? I mean, this is a results-driven business. In professional sports, you got to, as a coach or a GM, you've got to bring in results. Otherwise, the axe may fall upon you. And I guess, look, I think Matt McQuaid was saying the other day his overall coaching record is like 40 and 80 or something like that.
Good, is it? Yeah.
If you look back on Mike Kelly's career as an NBL coach and isolate that one season where he had Oliver Newbill and Machado, right? And he won Coach of the Year. If you take that out, it's not pretty reading, right? Because that 1 year he actually did a really good job.
What about if I threw it back at you, Woods, and said that the club let him down with their recruiting this off-season? So essentially they've signed two American imports that basically don't have any Ds in their name because they can't play defense. Took a punt on, a couple of Sydney Kings guys. One of them's going pretty well. One of them is literally just stinking up the whole place in Angus Glover there. But do you think they perhaps let him down with the roster they've constructed there? Nathan Sobey, of course, has been a bit of a controversial figure so far this year. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the roster isn't ideal, but at the same point, it's the eye test. The offense that he's running at the moment is basically they're just running up the court, passing it to one guy, passing it to another guy, one or no passes, and take a bucket. Give it to Matt Hurd on the block or give it to Matt Hurd on the 3-point line. There's absolutely no sets being drawn up. You're not having any pin downs or things like that for Sobey. A guy like Derek Walton Jr. in the pick and roll, he can get creative, and he's got Jordan Hunter as a roll man there. There's so many pieces that he can. Even though the roster is not ideal, there is some good pieces there, and a lot of an opinion was divided on SEM at the start of the season. I said, "Nah, man, this team's not doing that well." Other people were like they're a championship contender.
Some people had him in the 4 and that. Do you think even if they had have won that game and got their first win, it was still only maybe another loss away? So they could have won that and then lost next week, and he still would have been sacked. Do you think?
Honestly, I would have sacked him regardless, win or lose, right?
Wow,
because
that would have been harsh, winning that game and waking up and getting sacked.
I mean, if you just get over the line against the Brisbane team, right? It was the eye test for me, right? He's lost some of the players, right? I think Damon Lowry always has got a lot of hot takes, right? And I don't necessarily agree with all of them. But what he did say was there's a lot of history, right? Nathan Sobey with Brisbane, especially in the media, there's been a lot of history. He circled this game on his calendar to have a chance to go up against his former club, right?
And then he got benched.
He got benched. The smart thing for someone like Kelly would do is to empower him to go and do well in a situation like this and trust his players. So there's been some strategic mistakes he's made in terms of his rotations. It's also the offense that he has created is very Scott Brooks, Oklahoma City-esque, if you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
So 0-5 Woods, can they still make the playoffs or the play-in?
No.
They're out?
They're out. But I'm very happy Sam McKinnon gets this opportunity because in Brisbane he was doing a decent job and didn't get that opportunity. So I hope they give him the rest of the year. Yeah.
Do you think they'll stick with their 3 imports, especially Wieskamp being the one that could be in danger? Do you think they maybe make a change with him as well?
Yes, now. Make a change right now. And I think to help Geordie Hunter, bring another stretch the floor big man in there potentially. You can keep Hurt and Walton and replace
I wish they still had Al Williams back there from last year, right?
Definitely. And when we said it, losing Mitch Creek and Alan Williams cannot be understated. These are the vocal leaders of the team. So
Mitch Creek's situation is a bit weird, isn't it? We could probably talk about that at another time. But he didn't end up playing overseas. He's sitting watching their games. He's on NBL overtime doing all these sort of things. I mean, he's like an all NBL type player. I mean, every team would be happy to have a Mitch Creek out there. So hopefully he can get back on the court, whether it's here or overseas.
I heard it's not long away.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, that's the main thing. I mean, obviously, we probably would have talked normally about the game you would have gone to, but, given you thought you were going away, you didn't end up going to that. But just very quickly, the Kings just destroyed Cairns in that game, didn't they? That was it wasn't the best weekend for Cairns, wasn't it? We were singing their praises last week, and then Perth won on their home court. Bryce Cotton just showing that he is number 1 player in the NBL, and then Sydney won by 26 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-sided games in this.
There was. It wasn't the best round.
There's 3 25-plus games, right? I think. Yeah. With Cairns, Taron Armstrong is so important to their success. I mean, and him driving that.
Got to keep him healthy, don't they? I'll tell you what.
Yep. And then Groves as well.
He's not a point guard, is he? When Rob Edwards is filling in.
Oh no. And also Groves, he's very important. A guy who can really give you 10-10 every night. So they're missing both Groves and Taron Armstrong, which hasn't helped. And Sydney really, after losing to Adelaide, they came back home in front of a raucous home crowd with a point to prove. And so this happened. Yeah.
All right, good stuff, Woods. Well, let's get into this preview of round 5. So I believe there's not as many games as last week. I think there might only be 2 teams on a double this week, and that's New Zealand and
Tasmania,
yeah. So not as many games. Do you want me to go through them?
Yep, sure.
All right, so we've got the Thursday night game. I'm back at basketball this week. I know you're trying to sit out a few more weeks, so you are making your return to our Thursday night comp, but I won't be watching this one live. But we've got Brisbane against New Zealand. So, geez, New Zealand after that long road trip, hopefully they've even gone home to their own beds for a night or two. What are you thinking about this one?
I think Brisbane, they'll be buoyed by their victory against SEM. They're playing at home. James Bateman, man, give me some James Bateman love.
Well, he's now no longer the worst import in the league, is he? That belongs to Craig Sword. So, yeah, he's actually off the bottom of the import power ranking. So it was pleasing to see that, wasn't it? Just sort of getting that monkey off his back. He hit some shots, had a win. He came off the bench, was surprising. Had a pretty poor plus minus as well, but still, really helped the team there. And you could see that confidence just lift from him there. So, yeah, I think Brisbane will win this one too. Man, New Zealand have got 2 games in 2 nights after just coming back from the US, so pretty brutal schedule for them. They're going to have a really heavy schedule going forward now, aren't they?
Well, it's Thursday and Saturday actually,
Yeah,
right? Thursday in Brisbane and Saturday at home in New Zealand, right?
Interesting, yeah. They've only played the 2 games and they still haven't lost yet, so they're still on top of the ladder at this stage. So, we've got Tassie and Sydney Friday night, so that's a pretty decent game. It's in a different stadium as well as this one, Silverdome.
Yeah.
Okay, in Tassie. Possibly game of the round this one. What are your thoughts on this game?
Tassie's looked really miserable, haven't they? Like this round especially.
I'll tell you what, Woods, had Perth had beaten them in that game 2 weeks ago, they lost in overtime, there'd be probably some alarm bells ringing for Tassie. That's kind of just, kept them out of the public eye at the moment. I think if they go down and they don't play well in this game, there could be a few questions asked, I would have thought.
Definitely. And I think not just losing Jack McVeigh, I reckon not re-upping someone like Marcus Lee has affected them a little bit as well.
Yeah.
That two-headed monster was terrific, right?
Yeah.
Now you bring in Craig Sword instead of Marcus Lee. Now tell me who's going to impact winning ball games more at the moment? A Marcus Lee or a Sword?
Honestly, Woods, I don't like to be a negative person. You know that about the way I live my life. But I see Craig Sword as an NBL 1 level player. That's what I've seen from him these first few games. Someone that would, look kind of, like he belongs in like an NBL 1 team. That's no knock. I absolutely love the NBL 1, but that's kind of the level that he seems like to me. He may have another step he can go up there, but yeah, he doesn't seem like the answer for what they have there. Bring back Rashard Kelly, right? Where's he playing?
For sure. A big body. They don't need a defensive-minded guard on there, right? Anyway, let's see how it plays out. As I said to you offline the other day, he's playing a little bit injured, so let's see if he can show some form over the coming games. But Sydney to win in a canter, man.
Yeah. So then Saturday night, we've got New Zealand backing up with another game, playing against the mighty Wildcats there. So, look, the Wildcats have had a pretty brutal schedule there. I think they might have travelled home. It's about a 9-day break, which wasn't too bad from after that Tassie game, but they've had a bit of a run away from home there. Look, Cotton traditionally plays well in New Zealand. I know he's had a couple of game winners in the past against them. So I'm going to say the Wildcats get up for this one. You see?
Yeah, likewise. I think New Zealand are going to lose both. It's going to take them a while to get into this swing of things. Let's give it a little shout out to Christian Doolittle and what he does. Don't interview him at halftime. No, don't interview him. Yeah.
Or if you do, have some good questions.
Have some good questions, definitely. Yeah. But this guy just wants to win basketball games. He said that in his interview. I just want to win, man. And you saw him and Bryce sitting down and having a deep conversation after the game. He's a deep thinker about the game of basketball.
Hey, he's looking for his shot more this season.
Definitely.
He's taking guys off the dribble. He's playing a bit more of an aggressive role on offense there, which I like. He's clearly a very skilled player there. So, he's absolutely been really good for the Wildcats this season.
Yep. Okay, moving on. We've got Cairns and Illawarra on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good game on paper as well, right? Both teams just playing the one game this week. Cairns wouldn't want to lose another one at home after going 0-2 on the weekend last weekend. I'm going to say Cairns in an upset with this one, Woods. I'm not exactly sure if their guys are going to be healthy. We know the Hawks are in great form, but I think Cairns might get that win at home there.
I think Taron Armstrong is likely to play. If he doesn't play, I'm going to go the Hawks. If Cairns have Taron fit and healthy, Cairns in a tight one, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, the next one, the throwdown at John Cain Arena. It's not really a throwdown anymore because Melbourne always beat on SEM. Can you see SEM?
Can I say 3 words here, Woods?
Yeah.
New coach theory, right?
Yep.
I say it all the time, whether we're talking English Premier League, NFL, NBL, whatever sport it is. Anytime a new coach comes in, so many times they seem to get that win. So, look, they're obviously up against it a little bit this week, playing against the Melbourne United juggernaut, but new coach theory for me. I'm going to say Southeast win this one in a really good game.
Okay, man, I can't see that happening. No way. But all right.
And also, what is 10 bold? Does anyone actually watch games on 10 bold?
I think the game on Saturday was on the Kings game was on 10 bold.
Is that an HD channel or not?
Yeah, it is.
Never heard of it.
It used to be 10 Peach, I think. I think it's just renamed.
Fair enough. So you reckon Melbourne for that one, right? You're not going out on a limb with that new coach theory.
No, I can't. I mean, they'll be competitive though. I think Melbourne United should get it done. Okay, Adelaide versus Tassie. I can't see Tassie beating Adelaide at home. Adelaide split the New South Wales doubleheader this weekend. They beat Sydney, lost to Illawarra, which is
And
pretty
that's
impressive.
not a bad result playing
No.
against two teams like that.
Yeah.
I like the way Adelaide are going about it. There's talk that Montrezl Harrell may be staying, which would be a really good thing for the league. He was really funny to watch in that Sydney game, wasn't he? He was the highlight of the game for me. Just some of the effort plays, the emotion he plays, and that little jump ball thing with Cam.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We'll be seeing that showed on various pro
That was
videos
awesome.
for a while, I would have thought. But yeah, like the way he's going about it. I'm a big Kendrick Davis fan, and I think I might have even, I'm not sure if I said on the show last week or to you offline, but DJ Vasiljevic, right? Not always been a big fan of this guy, but he's been really good. He's improved as a player. He's not just an outside shooter now.
I agree,
He gets
man.
to the basket. He's a good passer, smart IQ and everything there. So now full shout out to DJ.
I agree.
He's definitely improved.
Yeah, I was telling you, his ability to read what the defense gives him and act accordingly.
He didn't have that some of those years at Sydney, right? I remember we'd leave some games together at Sydney, and he's literally scored 6 points and did nothing else on the court. He was quite a frustrating player, but he's definitely added some stuff to his game since we saw him around those a couple of years ago there.
Definitely. And Sunday Detch, man, another guy that's playing heavy minutes for this team. The coaching staff trust him to guard some of the best players on opposition teams. So he's having a good year as well defensively. Yeah,
for sure. Well, looking forward to that round, Woods.
Yep.
And looking forward even more so to talk some NBA with you, right?
For sure, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a little while. So we've got quite a bit to talk about here. So main bit of the show here, we're going to talk about some of the Aussies in the NBA that have changed teams. We're going to do a quick fun bit on our favourite league pass teams to watch. And then we've got our predictions, which we do every year. Sometimes these can be bad, sometimes these can be good. Not sure if I'll rate Miami to be the worst team or whatever I've done in the past, so Woods. But let's start off with this, right? So we know quite a few of our Aussies have changed teams in the off-season. So the main ones really, Paddy Mills, Joe Ingles, Josh Green and Dyson Daniels. So quite a bit of movement there for those guys. Thought we'd just quickly go through these guys one by one, Woods, and just maybe see what you expect from them this season with their new team and that new fit there. So maybe we'll start off probably with our favourite of those guys, and that's Paddy Mills now with Utah. What's your thoughts on what sort of role and fit he'll have in that Jazz team?
I think with Paddy, he's going to come in and have a bit of a leadership role, along with Jordan Clarkson. I mentioned that last week, I think, on the show. Two senior vets in the locker room. Jordan Clarkson might get a little bit more time to play as a sixth man. Paddy, I think he's more there as insurance, practice, and help out the younger guys who are coming up. It's nice that he's got this opportunity to play in the NBA for one more year, because I honestly thought it might be the end for him last year.
Yeah, we both had a feeling about that, didn't we? Look, I don't mind the situation. Clearly, at this stage of his career, he's that cheerleader and locker room presence. I don't see him playing a lot at all in this team, Woods. I think they have got a bit of a youth movement there. They've got Colin Sexton, they've got George, they've got Jordan Clarkson, they've got some decent guards on this team now. So I can't see that they'll be playing him over any of those guys there. So he might be that kind of victory cigar type guy. You see him come on if they're up, 15 points in the last quarter, alternatively if they're down in a game. So we might see a lot of him sitting on the bench and being a great teammate that we know he is there. Quick one for you. Do you think he'll see out the season with Utah? Do you think? I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't. Almost like with Atlanta, they end up, wanting to fill out another roster spot with another need there. So I think there's no guarantee.
I think the difference here is the relationship he has with the coaching staff at Utah from his time at San Antonio, which he didn't previously have with Quinn Snyder, right?
Yep.
So I think he might see out this season at Utah.
Fair enough. And now we'll go on to Joe Ingles, who, of course, is now with Minnesota, which seems a little bit strange here. And obviously, their teams has changed quite a bit, hasn't it, with that recent trade there? Maybe I'll start with that one. I kind of see a similar role to what Paddy's got in Utah with Joe Ingles. Woods, maybe playing a little bit more. It will depend on some injuries. We know Ingles can play a couple of positions. You could probably put him in at the one at times. You could certainly play a bit of two and a bit of three, depending on matchups. We know he's not the greatest defender in the world, especially at this stage of his career. But again, I think someone's going to be a good teammate, locker room presence. You can see him working with some of those younger Minnesota guys. But you got any different thoughts to that?
Yeah, I mean, Slow Mo is gone and he's been replaced by Slow Mo Joe, right? So there's a few minutes. There's a few minutes there for him to play, and I think obviously having that familiarity, playing alongside Rudy Gobert, playing alongside Mike Conley Jr., those guys will want him to play. So he's going to be part of that rotation, probably the ninth man, I'd say 8th, 9th, 10th man on the rotation, but he'll play. Yeah.
Did you see that birthday cake they got for him? They showed in that preseason. I forget how old they said he was. He was like 200 or something. I got a bit of a laugh about that. So he's already sort of, being that good sort of locker room presence and someone that'll fit in well. So, no, I agree with that. This next one is someone that I think is an interesting situation, Woods, and that, of course, is Josh Green. So, look, he's gone from an NBA Finals team in Dallas there, starting on that team, going to the Boomers and having, let's be honest, a pretty poor Olympics there. He's now with the Charlotte Hornets, right? I could see him having a decent role in this one. I could see him possibly starting. It's definitely a young and up-and-coming team, isn't it? You know, they're led by LaMelo Ball. We're big fans of Brandon Miller. They've got some talent on that team. I don't think it's certainly going to be enough to challenge for, playoffs or anything else like that. But I think it's a fresh start for Josh Green, right? How do you think he'll go on this young Hornets team?
I think good. And they've got Charles Lee, the new coach. They've brought in a young coach who will be keen to play some of these younger guys. I've got Charlotte Hornets as one of my league pass teams as well for later.
Yep.
So they're going to be fun to watch. I think this is a good situation for him. Dallas,
he was... Start?
Huh?
Do you think he'll start?
He might. Let's have a look.
I can see him starting, whether you want to start him at the 2 or the 3 there.
Okay, let's have a look. So I've got LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Josh Green, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams starting, right? Then off the bench, you've got Grant Williams, Trae Mann, etc. So I would have him
Bridges
starting.
Good bloke, would you say? Or?
Huh?
Miles Bridges, good bloke?
Oof. I don't know, because apparently his wife made all that stuff up. Like, it was actually fake, right? And he got exonerated,
so
right?
He might be a good bloke.
He might be, right? So there's some stuff going on, like, that he might not necessarily have been responsible for that stuff. She did it to herself or something, and then blamed him for custody of the kid.
Almost like the Giddy situation, whether he did or didn't do that, he's always going to be, someone
vilified.
On there. While we mentioned Dallas and obviously Josh Green leaving their Woods, there's news that came out this week. Dante Exum's had surgery, right? So he's expected to be out for, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks or something.
2 months.
So that's terrible news, isn't it? He's sort of worked so hard to get back in the NBA, playing with a really good team like Dallas, had a good spot in that rotation there. Hopefully he doesn't lose that spot in the rotation there and he comes back and contributes, right?
Almost like Hardy has to play now. Now you've got,
I don't mind Hardy
because he's takes some of those Exum minutes. So I think that's good for Hardy's development. Hopefully Exum can come back towards the back half of the season and help with the playoff push. And having Clay there is also going to help as well, to cover for Josh Green a little bit,
And before we go on to our man Dyson Daniels on the amazing Atlanta Hawks there, what about Jack McVeigh with that game-tying shot against OKC in the preseason? Wasn't that amazing to see?
Yeah. Really nice to see. Hopefully he sticks on.
Yeah. There's been some good photos in the media days with him and Jock Landale together and everything else like that. We know Thon Maker's Exhibit 10 contract as well.
Stephen Adams is there. They've got a bit of a ANZ flavor.
Right. Let's finish with Dyson Daniels, right? So I've got to admit the Hawks have had 2 preseason games. Being the sicko that I am, I watched every minute of both the games there. So loving the look of Dyson Daniels on this team. Feel like he's working well with Trae already there. I think we're both quite excited with this addition to our Hawks, right? How do you see him fitting in? And do you think he could play a pretty decent role and potentially even start for the Hawks this year?
Yeah, look, definitely. I mean, DeJounte Murray and Trae didn't work together. 2 guys who are bona fide scorers, need the ball in their hands quite a bit. Dyson's going to be able to play alongside a defensive-minded guard, play alongside Trae Young. Doesn't need the ball in his hands. He'll move without the ball. He'll cut. He'll get open. So I think it's a nice fit alongside Trae. I think Coach Quinn Snyder is going to be good for his development. Overall, I think it's a good fit for him. So really excited to see how he performs.
100%. I'm really excited about it. I think he's going to have a pretty big role for him. Look, I mean, it's hard to read much into the preseason as well, isn't it? I mean, some of the players playing in both those games there today were just like, who the hell is this person? You've got to kind of, Google them and find out who they are. So these rotations will settle. I think Hawks have got 2 more preseason games. I think they're still trying to work out the lineups, right? There's some talk that Bogey may start. DeAndre Hunter's fallen out of favour a little bit. DeAndre Hunter's someone I wish the Hawks would have traded Woods because I can see his value is just lowering more and more every year now. And perhaps he's someone they should have got rid of there. But anyway, but look, some interesting spots, isn't it, for these Aussies changing teams? We'll certainly continue with this throughout the year and sort of, let people know how we think they're going and all those sort of things there. But what we thought we'd do was, and we've done this the last few years as well, I'm going to quickly name our favourite League Pass team. So obviously we can't name the Hawks there because we're probably, I'm going to watch every Hawks game for sure. You probably do similar there. But I thought we'd maybe go one by one and name our top 3. We don't know which other going to pick there. Why don't you start with a team you're excited to watch on League Pass this year?
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Is that for Alex Dukas or is there another reason?
Ooh, just excited to see them develop with one year later, right? Chet Holmgren is going to be developed a little bit further. The new signings of Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. And they're going to be fun to watch, right? SGA running that team. And I'm just really keen to see them take that next step and compete for a championship this year.
We know you're a big SJ fan as well, so I like that one. I'm interested to see J-Dub this year. I thought he was a little bit disappointing in that series against Dallas, especially on the offensive end there. So I think he'll probably bounce back from that now. We'll try and find out who the second best player on that team, right? Is it J-Dub? Is it Chet? You could probably look at
Chet.
it from either way. You think it's Chet. Okay, it will be interesting to see whether J-Dub can sort of improve on that. But I like some of their lesser known players as well. Guys like Wiggins and those sort of guys can come on and really make a difference there. So, yeah, no, it's a good one there. My first team, I'm going to say, and we'll probably hear me talking about this team a little bit in our predictions later. I'm really high on this team, Woods. The New York Knickerbockers.
Ooh, I got them too.
I plan on watching these guys as much as possible. I think
Yeah.
they've got a really intriguing lineup of guys that will, likely play big minutes under Coach Tibbs, like we've always seen. A lot of guys in this team I like. I mean, anyone that listens knows I'm a big Cat fan. Love Jalen Brunson, the way he goes about it. Love Josh Hart there. So, looking forward to see these guys there. And I think a lot of people would agree, Woods. I think the league is in a better place when New York are performing well. They're going to be a really hot ticket this year, I think. So, yeah, New York would be the first one for me. I reckon I'll be watching a lot of those games this year.
Yeah, and looking at that New York's depth chart, looks like Ariel Hukporti might actually get to play a little bit, right?
Yeah, possibly. I don't mind that. Yeah. Who you got for your second team?
New York.
New York as well. You got any different reasons than what I said? Or?
No, just really excited to see them play. I think the acquisition of Karl Anthony Towns is awesome. Mikal Bridges, damn, it's exciting to see these guys play together, right? It's they were good last year, right? Now with these tweaks that they've made, the additions of those two that I just mentioned, Bridges and Cat, it just makes them intriguing.
As well, Woods. They went really deep last season without Julius Randle being a factor at all in the playoffs. They've essentially, now added Bridges and Cat to this team. Yeah,
sure.
They've lost DiVincenzo, but that's a pretty tough lineup. Did you see the end of the game yesterday, the Minnesota-New York preseason game? So that was interesting, wasn't it? DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson's dad and former NBL player Rick Brunson sort of having a bit of a few words there, and that looked a bit interesting, didn't it? So there's obviously a little bit of bad blood. We did hear that DiVincenzo wanted out of New York, which surprised us both, I think, to hear that. But I'd love to know exactly what went down with that one. But that was quite interesting there. So, all right, nice. Well, yeah, we picked the same. We didn't know we'd do that. So my second team, maybe a team that might surprise a few people. I'm going to the LA Lakers.
Yep, cool.
So, look, honestly, I think the second best player I've ever seen in my life, playing alongside his son, has got to be must-watch viewing. And yes, we're not sure how much Bronny will be playing. He may be spending some time in the G League. We're not sure exactly how that'll work at this stage. But I just think I'm excited to see this team. Anthony Davis looks pretty healthy these days. He's always fun to watch. And I like some of these younger up-and-coming players. They've got, Hood Schifino, guys like that could come in, Christie, guys that may have a bit more of a role this season. So, yeah, probably a strange one for me. And we know there'll be no shortage of these Lakers games on ESPN and everything else like that. But if we're talking league past a random midweek game when they're playing at, Detroit or something, Lakers might be a team that I'm checking out.
Look, I mean, I agree with you. And you talk about history of basketball. We're lucky we've been there through Magic Johnson's career, Michael Jordan's career, Kobe Bryant's career, LeBron James's career. What I would say to some of these youngsters, 10, 15-year-olds who look at LeBron James as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, watch as much as you can this year. You're not going to get an opportunity to watch him for much longer, right?
100%.
So if you've got the opportunity to watch LeBron James play in what could be his final year as a professional, take that, because who knows when we're going to have a generational talent like that again, right? So
Zachary Rissachet, maybe.
Victor Wembanyama.
Maybe. I think more chance of that one. All right. So, who have you got for your last
Charlotte Hornets, baby. Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah,
really excited to watch them to play, man. I think they're going to be so much fun. So, be watching a lot of Hornets games this year. As you said, LaMelo Ball is fit. He's going to be worth the price of admission. We got our Aussie Josh Green there and our boy Brandon Miller, right? So,
two random things as well that sometimes contributes to my watching the game, Woods. Cool uniforms and a cool home court.
Oh, definitely.
Don't you reckon? Things
that
like
New York court is just such a good one to watch as well, right?
Compare that to
Garden.
the Brooklyn Nets home court. It just hurts your eyes when you watch it. Yeah, they've always got cool jerseys and stuff. So I like that one as well. Yeah, it's like we said, it's not always the top teams that we want to watch with these league pass rankings. So I'm with you with the Hornets. My last team I'm going to go, it's a team that we briefly spoke about before that features 3 Aussies plus a Kiwi, and I'm talking about the Houston Rockets.
Yeah,
look, this team has a bunch of talent, Woods. Coach Udoka will have his hands full trying to work out the best lineups. They're really deep across the board there. A big fan of Şengün. He's really fun to watch. And he's definitely got some talent around him. Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Jabari Smith, who I think might have an improved season. Yeah, 100%. He's a very versatile big guy there. really hoping that Jock Lando has a meaningful role. And, hopefully at times he might be joined by Jack McVeigh, maybe Thon Maker. I guess we'll find out about that. Wouldn't shock to see the, player cuts and maybe Thon Maker sort of exits there. But,
You got
we'll see what
Sengun,
happens there.
you got Landale, you got Adams.
Yeah.
I can't see Thon Maker making that team,
it's
man.
a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, the fact he's kind of been out of the NBA for a while and sort of hasn't been playing competitive basketball in good leagues as well might be against him. But yeah, Houston for me, I just reckon they're a team that you could watch them. They could sort of knock off anyone on their day. I think they're going to be a high scoring team. So yeah, Houston Rockets. So
we could have picked 7 or 8 teams here, and it still would have been
100%.
cool.
So tell me again who you had. You had Charlotte, New York, and
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Yeah, and I had New York,
LA,
and
Houston.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Nice one, Woods. Well, it's predictions time. So
love it.
Looking forward to this one. Again, we don't know who each other have picked here, so we could have some different ones. Maybe we'll know a little bit about what we've picked with that NBA draft.
Oh, by the way, let me just say that when I picked my top 10 as part of this exercise, I realized how badly I screwed up the NBA draft, having Miami down at 25. I should have had him a lot higher.
Hey,
right?
I was asking you if you wanted to draft him, remember? And I ended up drafting him, which shocked me. But,
so I probably got a high win from a low pick then, right?
But you think about it, Miami Woods, a team with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. I mean, a team like that's not going to...
And Tyler Hero as well.
They're not going to win 25.
Yeah, you're right.
There, so,
I got that one wrong.
Nice. Well, let's go through this one by one, right? So I think it's kind of a similar sort of categories we've done last year, maybe a couple of different ones. But
okay.
And we'll go back to these and do a recap show later in the year or when the season's finished. Let's start off with MVP there. Who you got?
Luka.
Same here. All right. Any particular reason?
This is his year, man. Like, I mean, we've been waiting for that Luka MVP year. It hasn't come yet. Last year, he was really, really good. I think this year, like on the back of making an NBA Finals, he's a little bit more mature. I think this team will be pretty decent. So.
What would it take for Joker to win the MVP this year? Right? I think he'd almost have to take another level there. I just don't think they're going to give him a fourth one now. I find it would be
best record in the NBA.
And something else, I reckon.
And putting up some ridiculous numbers, right? Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting. We're starting off with the exact same ones there. So we've got the All NBA players there. So
didn't I get this right? 100% last year?
I think you might have, yeah.
I did.
Well, I've basically gone one different to last year. So essentially, I've got Luka, SGA, and Edwards, who's my one difference last year. With apologies to Jason Tatum, Giannis, and the Joker. Who's your 5?
Luka, SGA, Tatum, Joker, Giannis.
So that's the same 5 as last year.
Yep.
Did you see that thing today? They're saying Embiid may not play back-to-backs this season. Is that, with my eyes deceiving me then? That's pretty alarming if that's the case.
Look, I mean, you want him fit for the playoffs. Every year he gets injured and doesn't contribute in the playoffs, or he's limping on one leg in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if it means he plays 55 games in the regular season, but he's in a good position for the postseason, he's got Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. That team is going to be damn
and
good if
Reggie
they're going to be
Jackson.
healthy. Yes, Reggie Jackson.
I'm glad I didn't touch him in any of my fantasy drafts. And speaking of which, Woods, I've done 3 fantasy drafts. I've still got 2 more to go. So that's going to be like a full-time job managing 5 NBA fantasy teams this year. But I'm up for the challenge. All right, so the finals, who we think is going to be the final and the winner. So we've spoken about these teams. I've got New York winning it this year.
Cool. Okay.
Glory to New York. And I've got them beating OKC 4-1. Who you got for this one?
I've got Boston versus Knicks, and Boston is the winner.
In the finals.
That's not right. That's not right. That's OKC, Minnesota in the West, Boston, New York in the East, and then Boston versus OKC in the finals. Sorry.
So Boston beating OKC.
Boston beating OKC in the finals.
Got a score prediction for that one? A game prediction?
4-2 Boston to win in 6 games. Yeah.
Well, my conference one's going back to that. So yeah, I've got New York over Boston. So you had Boston over New York, right?
Yep.
And who did you have? OKC and who?
I had OKC versus Minnesota.
Okay. I wanted to put Minnesota in. I just have a feeling that Dallas might get there. But yeah, I think that we're pretty similar with those ones. But yeah, New York for me, Woods. Wouldn't that be an amazing storyline to see the Knicks win it this year?
It's not
79. No, was that when they won last year? Before you were born.
They're going to be right there.
It's a lifetime ago, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. All right, nice one. All right, so the East playoffs, I'll sort of go, so this is obviously the 6 teams that make the playoffs, different to the play-in. So I'll do it from 6 to first. So I've got Orlando, Cleveland, Milwaukee, and then rounding out the top 3, I've got Philly at 3, New York at 2, Boston at 1. So I'd expect Boston to have the best regular season, but New York to beat them there. What's your 6 in the East?
All right, so I had Cleveland at 6, Indiana at 5.
Indiana, wow.
Milwaukee at 4, Philadelphia at 3,
yeah,
New York, and Boston.
Wow. Wow, so we've got the same top four. Who was your 5 and 6? Orlando.
Indiana
and
at 5. Indiana at 5, Cleveland at
Yeah.
6.
So okay, so no Orlando. So Orlando is probably a surprise to me having them in 6th place. I like that team this year. I think it got some young talent there. But when we're talking the East playing, so basically starting from
7 to 10.
yeah, so basically starting from 10, I've got Toronto. I found this quite hard rounding out the order of teams. Toronto, Miami, our Atlanta Hawks probably to have their usual record, and then Indiana. What are your 4 teams there?
I had Atlanta at 10, Toronto at 9, Miami at 8, which is obviously much different to the 24 or whatever I had them at in the draft, and then Orlando at 7.
Okay, so we've got the same teams anyway, so no real surprises.
Same 10, right?
Yeah, did you find that hard? Like for me, putting Toronto there, I'm like, oh, who else am I going to put in this spot? Honestly, like could Brooklyn?
The East is
surprise?
so bad.
Yeah,
after that,
some dodgy
like
teams, your Detroits, your Brooklyns, your Washingtons, right? So there's a few
Yeah.
interesting teams there. So all right, well, let's do the same thing in the West there. So
Okay.
counting down from 6 to 1. So I've got the Pelicans. I've got Denver, a little bit of a slide there. Then I've got Phoenix, and then a top 3 of Dallas, Minnesota, and number 1 OKC.
okay.
What you got there?
I've got Phoenix down at 9. So I had New Orleans at 6, Denver at 5,
Same as me. Yeah.
Dallas at 4,
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento at 3,
Wow.
Minnesota at 2, Oklahoma City at 1.
You're really high on Sacramento this year, aren't you? I know you took them higher than I was expecting in that draft. Is that just the whole DeMar DeRozan thing? Was it the trade they made today, getting rid of McDaniels for getting nothing in return? Or?
Yeah, I just think having DeRozan there to come in and replace basically Harrison Barnes, right, on that team.
Yeah.
Fox, Sabonis, and also, watching starting 5 and Sabonis's drive to win. I just have a good
I
feeling.
love
about
that guy even more after watching that show.
Oh,
How
he's
good was Starting 5? For those that haven't seen it, check it out on Netflix. It's 10 episodes. As I said to you offline, Woods, I tried to watch it with my daughter. There was a little bit maybe too much swearing to be watching with a 9-year-old, but I still managed to watch it there. But no, really
How
good.
cheeky is Anthony Edwards, by the way?
No, he's
so
like a
cheeky.
big kid, isn't he?
Yeah,
and all 5 of those guys in that show are very different personalities.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum came out really well, I thought.
Very
With
mature.
father and
Very
stuff.
mature.
Ant's just a big kid. LeBron's, a great role model there. And then
Great father.
Jimmy Butler's a quirky sort of a guy. And Sabonis is just a great guy. Loved all the home videos there with him, with Arvidas when he was playing for Portland back in the day. And little Domas Sabonis running around with his blonde hair and stuff like that.
Jimmy Butler is a bit of an oddball.
He's very odd, isn't he? Very, very strange guy. Smart guy. I know
smart
that.
guy.
But yeah, he's an interesting one. So I appreciate that. So Sacramento's your big one there.
Yep.
So the playing teams from 10. So I've got the Clippers just sneaking in.
Yep.
I've got Memphis, who I think, could probably get in there and maybe make some noise in the playoffs. The Lakers and then Golden State. Who you got for yours?
I don't even have the Clippers. I've got the Spurs at 10, Phoenix at 9, Memphis at 8, and Lakers at 7.
Let's talk about Phoenix Woods, because I'm a lot higher on them. I've got them at I've got them at 4. You've got them at 9. So why do you think they might be so low down in your eyes?
1 year older, lack of depth. I know they've got a few pieces come in. I did watch a few of their preseason games. I saw them against Detroit get spanked. They didn't have Devin Booker, but I just they haven't passed the eye test for me so far, and I'm just not convinced looking at them last year with that roster that they're gonna be better this year. And the West has got stronger. The West
It's
is
a little bit hard to trust their big three's health as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Bradley Beal's an injury waiting to happen.
Yep.
Durant's, he's going to pick up some sort of injury, and Booker's probably the one you're least concerned with, but he has had injuries in the past as well. So I think that could, Sacramento and Phoenix would probably be the 2 teams to watch for us there, wouldn't it? So
Yep.
All right, so now some quick hit ones here. So Hawks win total, Wood. So last year they won 36 games. I'm picking the old magic number for the Hawks, and that's 41 and 41. Where you got them?
I think I had 39, right? We discussed this on a previous episode.
Okay,
39.
so 39, so just 2 games under 500. Interesting. I mean, look, I think last year I was probably had the homer hat on. I think I had them maybe winning 44, 45, and I was quite a way off there. So hopefully they can at least get close to 50% anyway. But yeah, 41 for me. Scoring leader. Who you got this season?
Joel Embiid. If he only plays 55 games or whatever, it's less of a sample size. He was putting up close to 37, 38 points a game for a while there last year. So I got him.
I thought about Luka for this one, but ultimately I've gone Ant Edwards. I can see him really improving his scoring. I think he's going to have a bigger role. We're not sure if Julius Randle is going to be, ready day one. I think the ball's going to be in his hands a lot there. Big minutes. I can see Ant Edwards being the scoring leader this year. All right, this one I thought would be quite interesting, Wood. So what team do you think will have the biggest increase in wins? So you start off with this one. Who you got?
Memphis Grizzlies, easily.
Ooh, we pick the same.
Because, they've got Ja Morant back. They've got Desmond Bain fully healthy.
Yeah.
their team's looking good. They've, yeah.
All right, here's a question for you. Do you know how many they won last year off the top of your head? No Google.
22?
27.
Yeah.
So 27, keeping that figure in mind, how many do you see him winning this year? Do you think I'll go 41 and 41?
Higher than that.
Okay. So you can see at least a 15 win game improvement there. So interesting. We picked
Jaren Jackson's back and healthy, and Marcus Smart is back and healthy. I forgot, right? Yeah, and then your boy Zach Edey is going to be in the man in the middle. Damn, 100%. Shit, they're going to be good, man.
They got the old T-Rex and Desmond Bain. They got some good players on that team. So interesting, we both picked the same there. I'm quite confident with that one.
Yeah, likewise.
So the team with the worst record, I'll start off. I've got the team that I did maybe say a month or so ago the Sydney Kings could beat, and that's Washington as the worst team.
They're terrible, man.
They're pretty bad.
And they don't even have a fan base that cares about them, right? No, which is even worse, right?
So you don't think Corey Kispert's going to, make this team make the playoffs or something? All right, fair enough. Next one, we got Rookie of the Year. So I'm actually pretty confident with this one. I watched a bit of this guy in the preseason today. So Zach Edey.
Oh, you got Zach Edey? Okay.
Zach Edey.
No, I don't have Zach Edey, man. No way, man. That is.
I like that one. Pick 9.
Reed Shepherd
getting close to a double-double.
Reed Shepherd.
I worry there's too much competition for Reed Shepherd on that Washington team. That Houston team would. So I agree he's a good player. I just think there's a little bit of competition. Whereas I can see Zach Edey, he may start with Memphis.
He'll start.
Triple J does get injured there. So I can see him averaging close to a double-double. We saw him shooting a few threes in the preseason. I'm pretty high on the big Canadian Zach Edey there. So
I mean, they've got Aldama and Brandon Clark's coming back as well, I think, from a bit of a layoff. So
he's a different kind of a player.
That's true.
He's the sort of player that the Grizzlies will play, and they'll make other teams make substitutions to try and match up with him, which will be interesting, right? So
I'm interested to see how he goes in the NBA, because I told you last year when we were watching him play when we were in the US that I'm not sure that his game translates to the NBA level. Let's see.
Yeah. For sure. Sixth Man of the Year, or should I call this the Nas Reed Award? So Nas Reed for me, back-to-back Sixth Man of the Year. Who you got?
Jaime Jaquez Jr. That's what I got, man. Yeah.
Is that trying to show some love for Miami after you dissed them?
Yeah. You know, I've always liked Miami. I'm like, what am I thinking putting him down at 24, 25? Yeah, so showing a bit of Miami love, yeah.
No, fair enough. He could have a decent season. Nas Reed for me, I think they've already said that he will come off the bench. I can see him possibly increasing his numbers from last year with a little bit more opportunity there. So, and I hope he does get it. I love the guy there. So, Coach of the Year, who you got for that?
Greg Popovich.
Wow,
late in life for him to really take this upstart San Antonio Spurs team to a play-in spot. I've got him at 10. Did I have him at 10?
I think you did have him.
I did. I had him at 10 in the Western Conference, right? So I believe they're going to improve quite a lot, and he's going to have a bit of a renaissance.
Would he retire after getting that Coach of the Year, or you can see him hanging around with Wemby a bit longer?
I think he should hang around with Wemby a few more years.
Sure. Well, shout out to Greg Popovich. I did enjoy his role in the Back to the Future movies as well, so he was pretty good in those. So, no, it's an interesting one. I'm going to go New York coach Tom Thibodeau on this one.
Fair, man.
So I've got him winning the title. Obviously, we know this is a regular season award, but I can see them getting a lot of regular season wins there. I think he's going to play his big guys big minutes, and perhaps that'll look good for him with that win total there. So, Tibbs for me. MIP, Most Improved. Who you got for that? I thought this was quite interesting, this one, and we know it's a strange award, but who have you got for this?
Cade Cunningham, baby.
That's a nice pick. I like that one. Yeah, why is he going to win it?
I just think that he has not been able to string together a season, a proper season. And Detroit actually looks a little bit better. He's got some nicer pieces around him now. Tim Hardaway Jr., a few others have joined. And he's going to be healthy for the year and put up gaudy numbers on that team. He's 6'7" point guard. He can rebound the ball. He can create for his teammates. He's a 3-level scorer. There's no reason why he shouldn't have a breakout year.
It's a good prediction. Hopefully it won't be one of those stupid awards this year like a Ja Moran or someone that's been an all-star, and it's rubbish when they do that. I'm putting my Homer hat on for this one, Woods. I think he may have been in contention last year had he not had those couple of injuries, but the guy that I picked as an all-star maybe 2 seasons ago for our Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson.
Okay, fine.
He's my MIP award. I can see him having a real good season. I've just watched him in the preseason. He's added some strength to his frame there. He's a really impressive player, Woods. I think there's a lot of people that perhaps haven't seen a lot of him, so I encourage you to watch the Hawks. This guy can really play right. He can handle the ball. He's a great defender. Can shoot from the outside. He's a high-flying player. So, Jalen Johnson for me, and I'm looking forward to hopefully see that happen.
That's a good choice as well. Just looking quickly, Robbie, just looking at the Detroit Pistons depth chart this year, they've added Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley. They've got Bobby Clintman as well. And they've got Ron Holland II. So they've got a few pieces to put
And then
alongside
Ivy and
Cade
Jalen
Cunningham.
Duren another season as well.
Yeah,
Jalen
for
Duren,
sure.
I'm a fan of him. He
Yeah,
could
he's
almost average
awesome.
a double-double this year, I reckon.
People
So,
almost don't talk about him.
no,
He gets slept on a
underrated.
lot, right? And Ivy as well is
Absolutely.
there, I think. Jaden
Yeah,
Ivy's there, yeah.
yeah,
So
for sure.
Detroit's got a far brighter future than Washington.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, 2 to go. So defensive player of the year. Look, for me, this was Wemby pretty easy. I could see him averaging at least 4 blocks. So Wemby
Come on,
for you
man.
as well.
Is there anyone who wouldn't choose Wemby for this award?
It'd be hard not to, right? I think he's just going to have all the highlight defensive
Yeah.
players as well. And then Woods, our last one. This is backed by popular demand last year. People like it. We did this one. So it's the who plays more games out of Zion, Ben Simmons, or Kawhi. So last year Zion won this. He played the most games. Who have you got playing the most games? Zion, Ben Simmons, or Kawhi?
Zion.
I've got Zion as well. Have you got any hope in Ben Simmons or Kawhi playing more than 50 games this
Well,
season?
Kawhi played 60 odd games last year, 65,
Yeah,
didn't he?
okay,
So
fair
I think,
enough.
and then they'll need him more. Kawhi doesn't have the help that he had last year, right? They're gonna need him more. But yeah, you never know with him, man. You can't you never know. He's gonna have a whinge and say that he's not gonna play for the next month. You know, who knows? Yeah.
And have you heard though, Woods? Ben Simmons has been making jump shots in practice.
Oh,
Did
for
you
real?
hear that? Yeah.
Yes.
true.
Okay.
No,
I
think
wish him
for
nothing but
sure-
the best. I wish him nothing but the
For
best.
sure, Zion. I'm quite excited about this Pelicans team, actually. I like some of the players on this. So, yeah, I'm hoping Zion gets this award. And
CJ off the bench this year?
Possibly so. I think it's probably time to do that, right? And I love some of these guys like Murphy. You know, I'm a Herb Jones fan there.
Herb
so,
Jones, man.
Jose Grand Theft Alvarado. So, yeah, loving some of the guys on this Pelicans team. They could be a league pass team for me.
Word.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah. All right, that was fun, Woods. So that's our prediction. So I'll keep a bit of a record of that. We'll certainly go back to that at the end of the season, see how well or how badly we went there. Some interesting ones, right? I think that Phoenix-Sacramento could be a bit of a comparison. What I was thinking, that team draft we did as well, I could probably check in maybe at the end of, each 20 games of the season. I could give a bit of a progress report of how we're going and see if anyone's sort of shot out with wins and how we're going there. So, all right, well, let's kind of finish it off with a bit of true or false NBA related, Wood. So I know people are enjoying this part here. So we've got 5 quick questions here. First one for you. New York, is that a true or trade?
True.
True.
Yep. I just don't think that Julius Randle is going to even suit up for Minnesota, right?
Interesting. No, look, I've sort of mentioned how high I am on the Knicks. I think true. They've definitely got the best player in that draft. I think DiVincenzo was a good pickup for Minnesota there. But if they can't get Randle playing a majority of games there, it seems a bit of a lopsided.
I think they might move him before the trade deadline, and it's also a trade that was made with cash considerations for Minnesota as opposed to making that team better, which means that New York will win that trade. I think.
How about Minnesota trade Julius Randle to the Hawks for Clint Capella? I'll be happy with that, right?
That's okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. We could chuck in DeAndre Hunter too. He's not doing much. All right. So next, true or false? So an interesting one here, Wood. So we're now on a streak of 6 straight years with a non-American player winning the MVP. So remarkably enough, James Harden was the last US-born player to win, which is in 2018. So the true or false question is, we won't see a USA-born player win the MVP in the 2020s.
False.
False. Okay. I'll tell you what. So I've said true, Woods, and I'll tell you why, right? So we've got up-and-coming guys like Luka, SGA, and Wemby, as well as the previous recent big man winners in the Joker, Giannis, and Embiid. So I say true. I think it's hard to believe, but who would you have? So if you're saying false, who's an American-born player that may win an MVP in the next 6 years? Tatum? Anyone else that comes to mind?
Tatum was the one I was thinking of straight off the bat. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, okay. So you're sort of banking on one of those two maybe to do it. So I think that could be an interesting one. It wouldn't shock you though, right? If this run continues. Like I said, if Luka's due for 1 or 2, SGA, we know Wemby's, going to be maybe a couple of years away if they can get that.
What about Booker? If he stays healthy, is he out of the question?
I think his face is too annoying. People won't vote for him, but I don't see someone like him making that next step up there. No. But you're right with Ant Edwards. He's the sort of player, if they can sort of win the high 50s and he's leads the league in scoring like I predicted there, he could be a chance, right? He's a highlight player that people like. So, all right, it's a fun one. Okay, so third one, Hawks will trade Trae Young this season. True or false?
False.
Okay, I think false as well. So reasons to me, Woods. I think when they got rid of DeJounte, they show that this will remain Trae's team. Saying that, if we happen to be, say, 10 games under 500 at the trade deadline, anything's possible. But yeah, you got anything else to add to that?
No, I think the clear decision needed to be made on Trae or DeJounte, and that decision was made by the front office to keep Trae. So, yeah.
What do you think of Trae's beard?
I like it.
It's not bad.
I like it.
It'll stay. Yeah. All right, nice. All right, 2 to go. So this is a Wemby related question there. So,
Okay.
so true or false? Wemby will be an All NBA player this season, and Spurs will double last year's win tally of 22. True or false?
True on the 22 to 44. I can see
Right.
that for sure.
Mm.
All NBA first team or any team?
Any team.
Yes. True.
Okay, so you're saying true for both.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying definitely true. He'll make an All NBA team. He might sneak into the second, if not definitely a third.
Yeah, I think
I'm going to say false for that doubling the 22 wins. I don't think I'll be far offwards. I could see him maybe getting to that 39-40 range. I think doubling at 22 to 44 is a big ask, but geez, I could go pretty close there.
Wemby gets All NBA first, All NBA second team and Defensive Player of the Year. San Antonio Spurs make the playoffs and double their win total to 44.
And Popovich wins Coach of the Year. Might as well give all these awards.
Then
to
Pop
the
wins.
Spurs.
If all those things happen, then Pop has a fair claim to that Coach of the Year. Is what I'm saying.
And then he could do Back to the Future 4 maybe after that. All right. Okay, so last one, Woods. Bit of a French sort of theme here and a rookie theme here. So.
Okay.
Alex Sarr and Zachary Rissachet will both never make an All-Star game. True or false?
False. I think Rissachet has a chance. I don't think Alex Sarr will, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say false. Look, I have a feeling one of these guys might end up being a star, but not an all-star. So, liking what I'm seeing from Rissachet, I think it's probably the prognosis is probably guarded for both these guys to see whether they might just end up being role players, perhaps, quality players, just maybe below a star. But yeah, I'm going to say false. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see one or even both these guys end up being all-stars. But yeah, I think it's.
I said it before. Stephon Castle, in my opinion, is going to be the best player out of this draft. He'll be an all-star in this league at some point. Maybe Reed Shepherd. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, that was fun, Wood. So, well, look, action-packed show, wasn't it? We're nearly at the 1 hour mark there. So, appreciate you coming prepared with all your homework, with the predictions and everything else like that. That was
I had fun, man.
Fun there. So, look, we didn't have time for classic packs this week. We apologise. We'll hopefully have a pack next week. Should also mention quickly, Woods, because I have watched both games, the WNBA finals. So, Minnesota against New York. I'm not sure if you've watched them.
Didn't have a chance.
It's 1-1. So, Minnesota won the first game in overtime. Both these games in New York. New York squared it up, and I believe game 3 is tomorrow, I think, our time. Really good games there, right? So, look, Nafessa Collier was great for Minnesota getting that win. Williams is really good. We know we've got Alana Smith playing for Minnesota. So, I feel like I'm going for them. But look, New York's got a lot of stars on that team there. So, yeah, recommend people watch. I actually enjoyed the games. High quality play there. Very just, that final sort of, do or, no sort of tomorrow, do or die sort of the way the players were going for it. So looking forward to watch that game 3 there. And I reckon that might go the game 5 distance, I would have thought there. So, all right, quick outro, Woods. As I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Can be followed on X at Throwback Hoops. I know Woods will post these random jerseys we're wearing. Plus, of course, the card of the week, the nice Shane Hill.
Also a random card.
I know you're loving that one, Woods. Yeah, it's a pretty rare one, that one, isn't it? And yeah, also you can find us on Instagram, throwback.hoops, and email address throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Patreon shout out, Woods.
Yeah, so if you just log on to Patreon and you look up Throwback Hoops, you can pledge your support to us. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate that, mate. So, look, as I mentioned, we're literally 7 more sleeps away from the NBA season starting, so can't wait. And, the NBL's heating up as well, round 5. We've got to get to a game soon, Woods.
Yeah, man.
They've got don't have a lot of home games, do they, the rest of the year? I saw something from the Kings come out today. I think they've got a few of those Sunday afternoon games.
Yeah, there's a Friday one as well.
I'm not sure if they do have a Friday one, don't they, against Southeast? I think it might be, so interesting to see what that team's looking like then. But, all right, final words. You got any words of wisdom to finish us off with today?
Good luck, Mike Kelly, with whatever the future holds for you, man. You are one of the nice guys of the NBL, and hopefully he gets another opportunity somewhere in the world.
Well said. All right, appreciate that. So, on behalf of Woody and myself, big peace out from the Throwback Hoops group. See you next week.